Greetings, ugly motherfuckers and members of the Butts and Stuff Fantasy Football League. Week 11 recap. Great Week 10. Fantastic Week 10, mostly because I beat Mitch, and I'm selfish. But it was a really good week. For Week 10, jumping into Week 11, I'm going to go through a couple housekeeping things first. I'm a little bit ahead of the game, but I want to go ahead and put these things in you guys' ear. Other than my dick, I'll also put in your ears when the season's over. But I'll remind you guys on these things for the weeks coming. First order of business, trade deadline. I know we said we're not doing a trade deadline. Changed my mind, basically because I don't trust you guys. And I don't trust that you'll load up a team come playoff time or make, fair trades once you realize you're out of contention. So trade deadline is going to be December 7th. I think that's the Tuesday before, or the Wednesday before the last week of the season, the regular season, that is, Week 13. So December 7th, trade deadline. I'll post something about that and make sure you guys are reminded of that. Also, roster freeze. That's going to be a part of this. This is something we did in my fantasy baseball league. I really liked it. I think it makes sense. So we're going to do it. Roster freeze is going to be basically the bottom 8 teams that are not in the playoffs are not allowed to add, drop, do anything to their rosters once that Tuesday after Week 13 playoffs are set. Those bottom 8 teams, your roster is like it is. I don't care if every single person on your team gets hurt. Your season doesn't matter anymore. So no adding and dropping for the bottom 8 teams. That will only be for the top 4 teams. Couple reasons there. One, people drop players to build their preferred team for the playoffs. Also, if there is injuries to the players on the top 4 teams, they can hit the waiver wire and still compete for what is a title. Once you're out of contention, you're knocked out of that first week. You'll join those 8 teams, and your roster will be frozen as well. So that's the roster freeze. Lastly, before we get to football stuff, tribe has spoken, guys. Number 2 team from each division is going to occupy the number 3 and number 4 seeds in the playoffs. That's how it got voted. It was a really close vote. It was 7-5 if you didn't look. But the league decided this is how we're going to do it, so that's how we're going to do it. You'll be seeded by record for the number 3 and number 4 seeds. Of course, I've got to go in and do that when the season's over. You should already know that. Graham, if you paid attention. So seeded by record, if there's a tie in record right there, then it will go to intra-division record. If that's a tie, then it will be total points for who will get in and get those number 3 and 4 seeds. So just so you know how those things are going to work. On to football, past all the boring stuff we have to go over. MVP for the week is going to be Wilson. Put up 120.1 points. Despite only having 4 players in double figures, his running backs just had a monster week. 59.7 points from his 2 running backs, which were David Johnson and Robert Kelly, whoever the hell that guy is. And we'll get to those guys shortly. And Wilson beat Rob 120.1 to 89.6. However, fuck Colin Kaepernick. So you're not the MVP. You don't get it. Dan, weekly MVP, 93.6 points. He had 6 players in double figures, no players over 20, and a quiet week from his running backs following a monster week by DeMarco Murray and Ezekiel Elliott. Nonetheless, that was enough to beat Thomas, who only put up 71 points. So Dan is going to be our weekly MVP after Wilson's poor choice in quarterback. Our weekly dunce, dude, it's been a long time coming. I'm surprised it hadn't happened to you more. Lauren put up a whopping 59.9 points. And if the score wasn't enough, you lost to Charlie. So that's really why you're the weekly dunce. You lost to Chuck. He had 6 players in single-digit points. He got -7 from his defense, which is the Packers' defense. Vinatieri missed his first field goal in 45 tries. And then his running backs, Darren Sproles and Mark Ingram, both left their games early. Just a really disappointing week for Lauren and his loss. 59.9 final score for Charlie and Lauren's matchup. on the week. Other scores, I kept myself in first place with a 75.1 to 73.1 win over Mitch after Latavius Murray. Had a decent Monday night game. Didn't get in the end zone, so a very close win there. Keep me in first place. Graham handed Dwayne his third loss of the season, and subsequently handed Wilson first place with a strong 92.1, 80.3 victory over David. And then iJams proved to James that there really isn't a guy, and crushed his playoff hopes, 90.7 to 78.6 for the win for iJams there, and snapped his 5-game losing streak, which was just, and kind of kept himself in contention right here with a little bit of help and a couple good weeks out of iJams. Be right back into the playoff talk. Top scorers from each position. Aaron Rodgers, the top quarterback, 29.3 points. That's Graham's quarterback. Top running backs, plural. As I said earlier, Robert Kelly, 31.7, and David Johnson, 28. They're the top two. They're both on Wilson's team. Go figure. Top wide receiver, really quiet week for a lot of receivers in the league. Des Bryant had 20 points. That's Dwayne's wide receiver. Top tight end was Jared Cook at the Green Bay Packers. He had 14.5, and he was on the waiver wire. So nobody benefited from that one. Top defenses. This was kind of funny. So the Steelers had 23. And the Vikings had 22 on the week. Funny thing, the Steelers sitting on Deal's bench after he decided to start the Saints playing the Panthers. So the Steelers on Rob's bench, and then the Vikings sitting on Graham's bench. So two really good picks there, guys. Vikings on the trade block. If anybody missed Graham's message there. And then the top kicker, Roberto Aguayo, had 14. He's on waivers, worth noting. Graham Gano had 13. That's my kicker. So that's the top scores for the week. Standings. Where we're at right now in the Bloods division, Wilson, like I said, takes commanding first place lead right here, 9-2 record. Dwayne, as I said, snapped his 4-game win streak. He's now 8-3. Thomas in third was at 6-5. James at 5-6. Charlie at 4-7. Finally got a win this week. Snapped his 5-game losing streak. And then Mitch takes another loss, falls to 2-9, and he's got 5 straight losses so far in the season. So things just getting worse and worse for Mitch there at the bottom of the Bloods division. In the Crips division, I'm in the lead, 7-4, riding a 5-game win streak. Right behind me is Graham and Dan, both at 6-5. iJams is at 5-6. As I said earlier, he snapped a 5-game losing streak. Rob and then Lauren filling out at 5-6 in that division, both at 4-7. Worth noting as it stands right now, of course, this is going to change. But right now, Dan would be the one to get in with the number 4 seed into the playoffs, because him and Graham both have a 2-3 division record. So that would go to the second tiebreaker, points for, as I mentioned. Graham with 1,038.1 points for, and Dan with 1,156.6 points for. So of course those things are bound to change, but the divisional matchups are important. So right now Dan would be the one getting in. Other notes for the week: a great GIF week. Gotta say, it's just kind of overkill there, and I'm guilty of that as well. GIFs are kind of fun. But Wilson's going to be the GIF MVP. For 2 GIFs, it's more quantity than quality this week. For the 3 pumps from the Key and Peele skit and the So Hot from Billy Madison GIF post, both of those earned him weekly MVP. But Mitch right there, I'll give him second place recognition there for the Buzz Lightyear No Sign of Intelligent Life GIF. That was also very creative. The most liked on the week. But I thought Wilson's was funnier. Other notes. Useless post of the week is going to go to James for his Puerto Rico phone call. Who gives a shit, dude? What are you talking about? Useless post of the week. James, congratulations, man. Idiot. Shout out to Steve Smith on his 1,000th reception of his career. First ballot Hall of Famer, no questions asked. Steve Smith still carrying on a great career. Stop making me talk to myself on the group me. I know I'm not funny. I feel like somebody sent a message out to ignore everything I say this week and try and make me feel bad. You're not going to make me feel bad. I know just how not funny and not entertaining I am. So stop making me look like Charlie and talking to myself on the group me. Back-to-back weeks for Dan to have a passing touchdown from one of his skill position players. Last week was DeMarco Murray, and this week, who the hell was it? I can't remember. I'm a really bad league manager. Sorry there. But back-to-back weeks nonetheless for a passing touchdown from a position player for Dan, which is kind of strange. The Monty Python GIF war was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for participating in that. My dad is a big Monty Python fan, and he was actually pleased to see that we were doing that. I shared that with him. So you guys all got points from Papa Ortiz there. Get going. Lastly, please can we get a GoFundMe for the Panthers to cut Mike Rimmers? I'm so fucking sick of this guy. He's terrible. He's awful. That's it. Week 11 recap. Wasn't that great. You watched 11 minutes of me sitting here, talking about next to nothing. So I'm glad you guys tuned in, though. Thank you, as always, for watching. We're going to have a poll posted. Do vote in the poll. Nice to have 12 guys participate in the poll for once. Good luck this week. See you guys figuratively on the group me. See what happens on the waiver wire. Not a lot of talent really sitting there at this point because everybody in the freaking NFL is hurt now. So we've all picked up basically any talent that's left. But like I said, talk to you guys soon. Good luck this week. And I don't even have anything clever to say this time. Fuck you guys.